That's because at the moment we are actually trying to beat the population of San Marino with subscribers. San Marino
with subscribers.
The plan is to actually visit San Marino in a video. As soon as we get to YouTube rank, we'll be able to claim we have more subscribers than the population of the whole country, which would be pretty crazy. Crazy, mad, especially as manifested in wild or aggressive behaviour. Well, I wouldn't say I was exactly aggressive in my advertisements, but just the fact that we have over 30k subscribers and I have YouTube rank is pretty crazy. I know a lot of people have been asking, where is San Marino? You know, has he just baited us? He's way over 30k subscribers, why is he not going? Well, I had actually planned to go in December of last year, and honestly one of the main issues was flights. San Marino doesn't have an airport. Now the closest airport in Italy to San Marino is an airport called Rimini. Now the issue is with this airport is it is practically impossible to get a flight there from anywhere in the UK. And that's because of the time of year. Rimini is known for basically tourism and basically going there on beach holidays when it's warm in the summer. Not many people go there in winter, therefore there's literally no flights. So we've got a map of Italy. This is San Marino, and as you can see, this is Rimini. Very, very close. Now, alternatively to flying to Rimini, you can either fly to Bologna, Florence, or Pisa. Now, ideally, you'd fly to and from Bologna. You can stay in Bologna, you can drive to San Marino, have a day there, and come back. That was the plan. To get from Bologna to San Marino is straight down this long road and up a mountain, and you're pretty much there. Even flying to and from Bologna proves pretty difficult. I decided, okay, well, if we can't go to Manchester, which is the closest airport to me, maybe we can go from somewhere else in the UK. Like London, even though it's very, very inconvenient considering it takes ages for me to get to London. It takes hours and it costs a lot probably on the train too. I thought if that's how we're going to have to do it, that's how we're going to have to do it. Then you look at the flights and you realise that, I mean, at the moment you'd have to lay over in Istanbul regardless. Like a 22-hour round journey in the space of a few days is just not logical, not accounting for the like 4 to 5 hours to and from London. Maybe when I decided to go to San Marino in the first place, I should have done a little bit more research. At that point, it was around Christmas time, and I just decided, you know what, this isn't working. I'm just going to wait till after Christmas and then try and book the flights. So there I was in the middle of January, desperately trying to find some flights to try and get to San Marino in one way or another. And finally, after hours of searching, we found some relatively cheap flights to fly to Pisa, which was direct. Now, yes, Pisa is on the other side of Italy to San Marino, but that was oddly the most convenient way of doing it. And then a few days later, we found a decent price direct flight back from Bologna. So the plan was fly to Pisa, we would then drive to Bologna, stay in Bologna, and then on the second day that we were there, when we had a full day, drive from Bologna to San Marino, drive back, and then fly back from Bologna. It's a lot of messing about, it really was. We only went for 3 days as well, so it was a lot to fit in. Oh yeah, and by the way, the drive from Pisa to Bologna was 2 hours, and then the drive from Bologna to San Marino was just over an hour and a half. And we'd have to do this drive twice. So I guess this is how it went. Now of course, you've got to get there in one piece, which obviously requires flying on a plane. Now our budget and the fact that these were literally the only flights we could get basically tied us down to flying with Ryanair. You know how I mentioned trying to get there in one piece? Yeah, sometimes I guess the pilots just get somewhere near the runway and let go of the controls and see what happens. So getting there in one piece may be a bit of a challenge. But then we walked out to get on the plane and this happened.
Now you pay for Ryanair. It's not even Ryanair. I don't know whether to be happy or not.
Typically of Ryanair, they forgot that they were actually Ryanair and gave us a different plane. Despite the slight confusion, this actually gave me a little bit more hope. Maybe we would arrive in relatively close to one piece. But before long, we were on the runway and ready to take off. There was not really much else that we could do other than hope. Anyway, at the end of the day, if the pilot did miraculously pass out, I could always take over, as I have played Flight Simulator a bit. I'm sure I'll be able to land the plane.
With destination Pisa Airport. And today will be around 2 hours. Destination in Pisa at the moment. We have cloudy sky with temperature of 10 degrees and light wind. With the boarding procedure, our captain will start the safe demonstration. Please give them your bit attention. Thank you, and I wish you a pleasant flight.
Honestly, the actual flight was really quite uneventful. So at this point now, we were in Pisa. And so it happens the Leaning Tower of Pisa was about a 10-minute drive away from the airport, so it would have been rude not to.
Now that really is leaning. That's not right, actually. That's going to fall down.
Now let me tell you, the camera can't do justice to how much this thing is actually leaning. Like, I didn't think it would be this extreme. Like, it's pretty crazy that it's still standing up. At that point, it was just time to get to Bologna and just basically go to sleep, wake up the next day and go to San Marino. But it wasn't that easy. Instead of worrying about the Ryanair experience, I should really have been worrying about the roads. This turned out to probably be one of the worst driving experiences I've ever had in my life. This was so bad. Now, I've been to Spain quite a lot, and driving in the UK then driving in Spain is a bit of a shock. The roads are sometimes not kept very well, like there's just holes everywhere. Roundabouts make very little sense, no one seems to have right of way. It's just a mess. But Italy, the roads in Italy, I don't even know. I don't know how more people, I don't know how I didn't see a crash. Nobody uses indicators. If you're on the motorway, everybody is literally so close behind you, so if you tap the brakes, they will go straight into the back of you. The roundabouts, no one has right of way. Like I said before, no one indicates. It's just an absolute mess. It's safe to say if I ever go back to Italy, there is absolutely no chance in a million years that I will be driving. It is just a mess. Not only driving, but just the roads. Crossing the road is a risk. They have designated crossings for where you're supposed to cross and the cars are supposed to stop, and the cars don't stop. I almost got run over about 3 times. Anyway, by nothing other than luck, we made it to Bologna in one piece and got ready for the next day where we headed to San Marino. So we'd done most of the driving down the straight roads, and now we got closer to San Marino and the roads got a lot steeper and a lot more windy. And then we came across this. Something that, at least to me, was only really comparable to a tuk-tuk. Anyway, we're almost there at that point. Now, before actually going on this trip, I didn't do a massive amount of research into where San Marino was, what it was like, and so on. I knew it was somewhat mountainous, but I did not expect, to be on the side of a literal mountain. To be honest, some of the views are just pretty amazing. Finally, we had arrived.
Right, I'll prove it more. Look, you see that flag? Do you recognise that? That is... No, it's not blowing the right way. Now, if anyone knows what a Rotary Club is, let me know. Yeah, I don't know.
Now, believe it or not, it was actually about 15 degrees and there was snow on the floor. Very confusing.
This looks like some sort of important building.
Now, I've got to admit, some of the camera work is a little bit dodgy. I'm not used to doing this sort of thing, and sometimes you'll just see my finger randomly over the camera, like, what am I doing? San Marino itself is unlike anywhere I've really been before. It's essentially very windy roads, very steep roads, shops either side, all the way up to the top of the mountain where there's a castle. And when you look out over the mountains from basically the bottom of the castle, there's just this ridiculous view of snowy mountains and pretty much everything you can see on the horizon. I don't really know what I expected, but this wasn't really it. Now, of course, getting up to the top of that mountain, you're gonna get hungry, and if you go to Italy or, well, San Marino, it'd be rude not to have a pizza, right? Of course, walking up to the top of the mountain made us quite hungry, so we got this thing called a padine, which is like a quesadilla and a pizza. Now, I have probably absolutely butchered the pronunciation. We also got some authentic cannolis. If I'm being completely honest, I was a little bit disappointed by the pizza. I could tell it was freshly made, and I could tell it was stone baked. Of course, we're in Italy, it's going to be made in a pizza oven. Well, San Marino, not Italy, but same thing. Well, not really, but yeah, you know what I mean. It just wasn't it. Honestly, I've had better pizzas in England, and that says it all. Just a bit bland. It didn't taste of anything. I couldn't even taste the tomato. Went for a classic margarita, you know, we're in the area. I don't know. But before long, it was time to head back to Bologna so we could sleep and then get up early for the flight the next morning. And after what felt like an eternity, which was really an hour and a half of literal dodgems, we made it back in one piece. Oh yeah, I think I forgot to mention, this is the car that we hired.
Yeah, was very lucky to rent this car. It does have a reg plate, don't worry. It's Pogba, isn't it?
Okay, I guess I'll tell the truth. This was in fact the car that we rented, a Fiat 500. It got from A to B, although it did struggle actually going up to San Marino. It was pretty bad. And back to the airport it was. This time Ryanair actually remembered that they were Ryanair, not a completely different airline, and had a Ryanair plane. Also, I had one job and I had my hand in front of the camera. Anyway, it's time to hang on for another 2.5 hours. And that was that. To be honest, when I got on the plane, I was that tired and I just wanted to get home. I didn't record anything else. Anyway, it was very cool to actually make this happen. It really was a really good experience. Regardless of almost being killed on an Italian road about 10 times and having not so great pizza, it was still good. San Marino, we have well and truly passed your population in subscribers, and we're coming for the next one. Let me know what we should do next. Whose population should we try to beat? Leave some suggestions in the comments. I'll put a community poll up in the next few days and we'll get something else organised. Also, I just want to say a massive thank you to everyone who watches the videos, who's subscribed, who leaves likes, who comments, who's donated, who's a member, whatever it is that you've done. Just watching the video, it is amazing. And I couldn't have made this happen without any of you. So thank you very much. Obviously, this isn't the regular Hypixel Skyblock sort of video, but I hope you have enjoyed, and I guess it is quite massively anticipated. So many people have been constantly asking me when San Marino, and there it is. Anyway, if you did enjoy today's video, make sure you do leave a like, subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you in the next one.